Hello, welcome back to the GameSpot stage here at E3 2016. I'm Lucy, joining myself and Scott on the couch today to talk about Let It Die. We have Suda51, welcome from Grasshopper Manufacture, and we have Tyler from Gung Ho Online Entertainment. What's the reception been like to Let It Die? Let It Die was revealed a couple years ago, it went quiet, now you're back showing it off.
レッド・イット・ダイは、2年前に、発表されたんですけど、その2年は何も情報がなくて、出てきたところでどういうリアクションをされていますかと。
とにかくこの間のパックスイーストまでずっとゲームを作ってて、面白いゲーム、そして新しいアイデアをたくさん入れてゲームを作ってました。そして、仕事をして酒を飲んで家に帰って、でまたその繰り返しですね。仕事をして酒を飲んで家に帰ってこの繰り返しです。
So of course at E3 2014 the game was announced and then we kind of went quiet for about a couple of years, but during that time we were working really hard and we finally put something out and made an announcement at PAX East this year in Boston. But over that time period working really hard, had a lot of ideas and tried to get all these new ideas implemented. So the cycle was really just work really hard, stay quiet, work, go to work, drink sake, go home, sleep, go to work, drink, sleep, and that kind of cycle continued, and then we finally had some great stuff that we were able to bring to the world at PAX now at E3.
So what is the overall premise of Let It Die?
全体的のその世界観とストーリーとか。
ゲーム自体は今回はハクスラ、そしてローグスタイルのゲームを目指して作ったんですけども、まずプレイヤーはパンツ一丁でこの世界に放り込まれます。
So the beginning is overall to explain what it is. It's kind of like a roguelike hack and slash game, but it's you start off in only your underwear. You throw into this game, this world only in your underwear, and you have to survive.
いや、女性キャラクターもちろん植え付けてますから。
Of course, don't worry. There are female characters that are available, but they are also clothed properly, so there's no concern there.
That's good. いや、何もわからないままとにかく塔の上を目指してるんですね。
So the players are thrown in and they don't really know what's going on, but they're in this tower and they're going to just go and explore to find out what's really going on here.
でそれを案内してくれるのがこの僕らが着てる T シャツアンクルですっていう死神がいろんなナビゲートをしてくれます。
So you're not just alone in this tower. So as you go through, you really don't know what's going on. You can see it on our shirts and on our pins, and sometimes in the game, this cool hip Grim Reaper. His name is Uncle Death. He'll come and he'll tell you what's going on.
Is it difficult to sort of reveal a new game but wanting to keep that air of mystery about it? Because even though you've told me, there is like so many more things that I want to know about it, but I feel like knowing more about it would ruin the experience?
やはりいくつか今紹介したと思うんですけど、新しいゲームについての新しい情報を出すにはやはりもうちょっとミステリーを残してた方が良いかな。それかそれを考えてますか、それかいろいろ言われてるんですけど、もっと知りたいんですけど、なんかまだあるような感じがするんですね。
いや、今回オンラインゲームに初めて僕らチャレンジしてるんですね。でとにかく塔を登るときには敵のプレイヤーデータが出てくる。こいつらめちゃくちゃ強いんです。それだけじゃなくて今度は自分がそうやったキャラクターを使って非同期型の PVP があります。
So of course, there are things that we would like to keep hidden, but of course, if you want to know more, we have a little things that we could say right now. So as you go through the tower, you're going to be raising your character, making it stronger. Of course, there's another meaning for that as you go through that game cycle, because there's another game cycle that involves some PvP action. Asynchronous PvP is the first time we're doing things with online capabilities, so we really want to bring meaning to what you're doing when you're figuring out what's going on in the tower. You're raising your character and then using that to fight against other people in a new way that I guess you might not have seen before.
So this is it's like when I die in my game, I could appear in someone else's game?
じゃあ私がゲームプレイしている時に死んだら自分のキャラクターが他の人のゲームに出てきますかと。
Yes, yeah, その通り。
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So is my character moving around? Is it based on the movements and actions I did in my game, or is it a new AI programming?
私が取ってた行動を真似するか、それか違う AI システムなんです。
真似します。はい。
So it will kind of follow what you do best and kind of follow. Also, it will represent you because it'll have the equipment that you had when you.
あなたのキャラが他のプレイヤーを倒したらものすごい報酬が入ってきます。
So if your character goes out and beats someone else, you might get something really nice in return.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the pawns from Dragon's Dogma.
ドラゴンズドグマのポーンズとちょっと似たような感じだ。
いやー、ドラゴンズドグマ遊んでないからわかりません。すいません。
Yeah, that sounds cool, but actually I haven't really played it, so sorry. We can't really say too much because we haven't actually played that game, so don't know too much.
Sorry, Capcom.
Sorry, 小林さん。
It's interesting. It seems like, I mean, given the way that mechanic works, and given like the surreal and dark-looking tone of the game, it feels like there's this kind of obsession with death. I mean, you even have Uncle Death. I was curious if you could talk about sort of that theme and tell us a little more about this world that we're seeing. It almost seems like kind of like a hellscape or something. Like you're trying to escape from this like hellish tower that's populated with the souls of dead players. I mean, it feels very dark and it feels very death obsessed. So I was curious about those themes.
感じがちょっとこのテーマが暗くて、地位にこだわってるような感じなんですけど、なんか地獄のようなタワーからなんか脱出するようななんかよくわかんないですけども、とりあえず地位のこだわりとか、そういう設定とかちょっといろいろ教えていただきます。
鋭いですね。
Pretty sharp.
なぜ自分がこのタワーにいるのか最初わからないんですよ。だけどだんだんストーリーが分かってきて。この塔が何であるのか、自分が何者なのかが分かってくるんです。
So of course you're thrown into the tower is really nothing. You really don't know what's going on. But of course, as you play through the game and you start unraveling the mysteries of the tower, you start realizing what your existence is, why you're there, and what's actually going on.
まさに自分が生きてるのか死んでるのか分からない、そんな世界観です。
It's kind of a really interesting world setting because you don't know if you're actually alive or dead. Maybe? I don't know.
いや今ちょっとヒント言っちゃいました。
I might have said a little too much there.
Well, just watching this and seeing all these different characters, I mean, there are all kinds of different weapons. There's people with crazy melee weapons like saw blades and barbed wire, but there also seem to be projectile weapons. I mean, like right now we're watching someone executed with the kind of buzzsaw. There was someone who gets cut completely in half with a katana. So the action is very intense. It's a very violent game, apparently.
いやものすごい種類ありますね。組み合わせ言ったら1億いや何億通り以上の組み合わせになります。
So there are really a lot of weapons and a lot of armor. If you guys were to piece them all together and the variations you kind of have, sorry, it's let's see, well over hundreds of thousands.
それスペシャルムーブのレイジアタックとそれからゴアフィニッシュっていうのがあります。
So on top of that, with each of these unique weapons, that's a gore finish right there. So each player has a different kind of. Each weapon actually has its own rage attack, which is like a special move, and then each has a special gore finish. So a unique finishing move for each weapon that you have.
いやモータルコンバットにはかなわないんですけど頑張ってます。
Yeah, it looks like Mortal Kombat.
モータルコンバット先輩にはかなわないです。
We won't definitely be able to reach the level of awesomeness that Mortal Kombat has brought to the table, but we really want to try our best and see, and hopefully they think that we do something cool too.
It reminds me a little of just when you're talking about like the story elements. Is there going to be some kind of like a main mission, or is it like Dark Souls where you're just wandering around the environment and you discover things and pick up on story elements yourself?
ストーリーに関してはその、メインミッションがあるか、それがダークソウルズのように、エクスプローリングしていくつかの、ヒントが分かってきて、それがだんだん分かっていくような形になってるんですか。
もう少しクレイジーな世界なのであんまり言っちゃいけないんですけど、変わったキャラクターが出てきてボスファイトをしたりとか、それによってストーリーがだんだん分かってくるんです。
Can't really say too much about it, but we can say that this is a kind of a really crazy world, and you meet a lot of crazy characters. And as you go through, you'll meet a lot of different characters, and especially there'll be some crazy boss fights you can expect as well.
Yeah. I actually want to ask a little more about the weapon system. I mean, again, what's kind of standing out to me is all these different weapons that you're seeing. So will you collect weapons as you go through the environment? Can you craft weapons? Can you customize weapons? I was hoping you could talk a little more about the weaponry that we're seeing.
もうちょっと今、見てるのですごい種類があるんですね、武器。
いや
それで武器を拾うだけか、それか作るかとか、カスタマイズができますか。
いや拾うことももちろんなんですけども、設計図を手に入れて作ることもできます。それはすごくスペシャルな武器、レアリティの高い武器です。
So of course you can pick up a lot of weapons, but we also have blueprints where you can make some actual special weapons as well.
So you think of like Dead Rising or something where you can build these really elaborate weapons.
いやちょっと似てるかな。
Might seem something quite similar, maybe.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's PlayStation 4 exclusive, but I remember reading that you guys are going to have some kind of companion app. Is that still planned?
PS4 のエクスクルーシブですけど、
大きい声で喋っていいよ。
PS4 のエクスクルーシブって聞いてるんですけど、コンパニオンアプリの話も以前あったと思うんですけど、まだありますか？
覚えてますか？
So you remember about the companion app?
いや鋭い、みんな忘れてるかと思った。
We thought they've everyone forgot about it.
ゲームの手法が変わってゲームデザイン変わったので今はなくなりました多分。
So the game design has changed quite dramatically over the past few years. So I guess you can say that because of the design change, that kind of also went out with the change as well.
Yeah.
よく調べてますね。
You really did your homework.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Try. You know, one of the things I've always found really fascinating about Grasshopper Manufacturer games, they always feel like they're very much kind of a personal vision, like they're almost subversive in a way. And I was curious for Suda's take on sort of his approach to game design. It seems like it's almost just devoted to, you know, creating whatever's in his mind and not so much worrying about, you know, what's going to appeal to a mass audience or anything like that. I was curious if that's sort of the mentality or if maybe I'm just reading that into his games.
全体的にグラスホッパーゲームの中で、ゲーム開発する先にそのデザインに関しては須田さんが、他の人はどう思うかっていう、どういうリアクションを取るかっていうより、とりあえず自分が作りたいゲームを、とりあえず作ろうっていうような流れになってますかと。
世界中のみんなが喜んでもらえることを考えてはいるんですけど、やっぱり自分の趣味が出ますよね。かっこいいものだったりとか、そうクレイジーなものだったりとか、自分の趣味はやっぱデザインにすごく反映されます。
So, of course, we do really think about what we think would appeal to others or what people would enjoy or have fun with when we do make the games, but you can definitely say that a lot of my hobbies and what things that I like are things that I've decided to put in the game from a design standpoint.
And consistently, it seems like those types of things are dark or brutal. I was wondering what attracts him to these, you know, just very bloody and you know, high action kind of games and those types of themes.
やはりそのパターンとして見るのがその暗いテーマや血が多いとかアクションがよくあるんですけど、その暴力的なものですけど、それにこだわる理由って特にありますか？
確かに血に関して言うと今回 E3 版ってパックスに比べて 1.5 倍に増やしたんですね、血の量を。
So of course you can understand with blood and bloodshed especially. For example, in Let It Die right now, we put a demo out at PAX, and we also have a similar one at E3 right now. But in between that, for the E3 build, he made sure that they increased the bloodshed by about 150%.
もちろんビューティフルだっていう理由もあるんですけども、一番はこの今僕らが生きている現実とは全く違う現実の世界を作り上げたい。なので普通とは違う血の量だったりとかデザインもみんな違ったりとかっていうことをイメージして作ってます。
So in regards to that, the reason why it happens to be that why we have a lot more blood is, of course, it looks really cool for one, but we really want to take people away from reality and make sure that they understand that the game that they're playing, this is a completely separate reality. This is not reality. So it's a whole different world, and people can go into this world and enjoy it there.
Does that not make it difficult, the amount of bloodshed, to release in countries like Australia or Germany, where they have much stricter rules on things like that than maybe we do in the US or Japan or the UK?
やはりその血の量によって、他のリージョンに出しづらい時とかところとかありますでしょうか？
いやこれまで僕の作品はすごく苦労してきたんですけども、今回は大丈夫です。
So we have actually had issues with that in previous titles, but I think this time will be okay.
いやドイツでもオーストラリアでも多分大丈夫です。
I think that Australia and Germany should be okay.
So this is the first combined effort between Gung Ho Online Entertainment and Grasshopper Manufacture. What's the working relationship been like?
これ初ガンホーとグラスホッパーで一緒に作っていくゲームなんですけど、そのリレーションシップにといってどんな感じですか？
もう本当みんなで作ってる感じなんですよね。僕だけのアイデアじゃなくてガンホーのトップの森下のアイデアも入ってますし、とにかくみんなでディスカッションしてゲームデザインを決めていって、そして作り上げていって、でオンライン部分はすごくサポートしてもらって、すごく仲良く作ってます。
So it's a really awesome collaboration actually. So not only is Grasshopper kind of, but we also have a lot of input from Gung Ho Online Entertainment. Of course, especially from the CEO Kazuki Morishita, and especially for being strong in online aspects, Gung Ho Online Entertainment, they've been giving us a lot of input and a lot of really good feedback on the online aspects of Let It Die when making this game. So we've been working together really well actually, and it's been a lot of fun.
So one other thing that I think is really interesting about Suda's work and Grasshopper Manufacturers, very few sequels. In fact, almost no sequels. I was curious why the decision to just kind of create a new game or a new franchise or a new universe every time you set out to make a game.
グラスホッパーのゲームの中であまり続編とかほぼないんですよね。でいつも新しいものを作り出す。で続編を作るより新しいものを作るっていう流れって特に理由ありますか？
あるかな。毎回新しいゲームを作ろうと思って作ってるので、出し切ることもありますし、完結してしまうこともあるし、このゲームで足りないところがあってもっと作りたい、続編を作りたいっていうものがあまりないのかもしれないですし、ただノーマルヒーローズだけは 続編作りたいって今も思ってますね。
So for a lot of games, I guess you could say we really put everything into it and tried to wrap everything up really nicely. So at the end, we really don't feel like we should or have to make a sequel and rather make something new and get some new ideas out there. But in the case of No More Heroes, well, there was a sequel and we still would maybe like to make another one.
So you guys announced Let It Die a couple years ago. You went quiet, little bit of resurgence. Can you share a release date with us before we go?
と2年も何も言えなかったですけど、発売はどうなりますか？
This year.
This year.
This year. This year.
All right.
And thank you so much for joining us. Guys, for more E3 coverage, make sure you stay tuned to GameSpot.com.